In today's video, we are going to be looking at what could be happening in the OTA that's coming up. So you might be watching this before, hopefully, maybe after, and then at that point, were we right? I don't know. Comment below. If you get further in this video or you had fun with it, please consider hammering down that like button. We'll look at a couple different sources and I'll give you my thoughts. Obviously, sometimes these sources that we have don't necessarily, speak to the community and how they necessarily feel, but let's just look at the data that we've got and we'll kind of go from there. We'll start at untapped.gg. We've got this filtered for the last 30 days. Player collection level 3,000 plus, just to make sure that we got, I'd say, the higher players versus just the beginning players. I know that can be a factor, but for right now, we're not going to touch that. Player rank 100 plus, we'll go ahead and drop that just to 90. I think we should change that just a little bit. You saw a little thing change there. And right now we're going to change by or sort by win rate. So what we're looking at here, we're mainly looking at the win rate. So we've got a number of tier B cards up at the top, which is interesting. So these cards have the best win rate, but Untapped calls them tier B. So we've got Scorpion. And honestly, just off the cuff, 54% win rate does not strike me as a card that you need to go change this. This card should be changed just by that win rate alone. We look at popularity, Vision at 20%. I think that's great. You're probably seeing that because there's a number of lockjaw type decks out there. So when he pops up and, move him around is very advantageous. And it's a nice card at 5.8. You can get some probably solid power. Another popular card, Leech. Again, are we going to touch Leech? Probably not. It's a release valve. They've talked about and changed that numerous times. Devil Dinosaur, I think, is just a staple in the game. A lot of people like it. Lockjaw, again, has made a resurgence, which is kind of nice. Honestly, it's like Lockjaw was dead for a while. The puppy was in the corner pouting, and we got some Lockjaw. But again, all of these in the 54% win range. Korg, Abomination. Nothing, as you look through the average cubes too, nothing here is really striking me as good, really. I was like, well, how do I phrase this? Like, none of them are that great. We look at tier C next, Kazar. Wow, all right, bad win rate there. And then we jump back to tier B. We've got Jessica Jones, Blob, Spiderweb. Blob we'll touch on a little bit later. There's some community discussion there. The rest of these, Thanos, another one, community discussion. But I've seen that actually both ways. I've seen people complain about Thanos. I've seen Thanos players complain that they keep nerfing Thanos. So you're going to get the whole spectrum there. I think the key is that he becomes playable at least more often than not. If you really like the archetype, you can at least compete. Cyclops, Scar, I'm honestly shocked, is even at 53%. Kyera, and the first A that pops up here, and that was what I was looking for, was Jeff the Baby Landshark. Pretty solid, 53%, but nothing crazy with the cubes. So let's look at the bottom of this. Quicksilver, oh my God, Quicksilver. Angel, all right. They changed it, but we're still not, this was the change we were all looking for so long, but I think it is a thing where people aren't still really using it. I do think it potentially has I would personally buff this. Well, no, I don't know. You got to be careful with it. You make it a 1/3 maybe. I think that might be decent. Destroy players might have it on there. Like, well, you know what? I can Carnage and or Venom it, and it's not that big of a deal. But if it clogs up the lane too, that could be a problem. I don't know. But they made the change we wanted. Still not really getting used. Granted, it hasn't been around that long, so we'll see if this adjusts. Rocket, Domino, Martyr still sucks. Wow, look at that. That's just awful. Swordmaster. So if the card's down here, Quicksilver is just... he's got his use, period. That's just what he's there for. Rocket, Domino, kind of same thing. Martyr, I don't know how you can really change Martyr much more. It's just a weird card. So unless you rework it, I don't think you make it a 1/6. That's too strong. The 1/4 clearly doesn't work. I just think you have to leave it there. Swordmaster, 3/7 feels too strong. Maybe a 2 something here. Maybe you change it to like a 2/4, or maybe you make it, 2/4 and a specific card, or maybe it's a 2/5 and it's still random. Ebony Maw, I wouldn't touch that. It fits a certain archetype. Yeah, Squirrel, Dagger. Dagger? That's... move players love Dagger. Maybe you look at Dagger a little bit, but man, you can really get Dagger built up. So if you know how to play her right, I don't know. Iron Fist, man, it would be great if he was a 0/1, honestly. Yeah, it was 0/1 for an Iron Fist. What do you guys think there? I like that a little bit because sometimes you want to be able to play that, and it's not like it's crazy game changing, but I feel like it could be pretty helpful. And it's not just like, a crazy, you feeding it to Lockjaw or anything like that. That's something I would definitely want to look at, and the rest of these we've talked about a lot. So let's look. I just want to quickly look at average cubes here to see kind of where they're at on this ranking. So let's look at average cubes, see if there's anything that sort of pops out at us that ranks here. Yeah, see, these don't go that high. Nothing really changes at the top for me. A lot of the same cards, but I'm seeing a ton of Magneto. But I honestly, as far as OTA goes, wouldn't touch it. Mobius, I think, is in a good spot. Scar, I don't know. I would maybe change it that has 9 or more power. I would maybe look at that. And that might, and maybe 9 or more, and then make him worth 9 or maybe 10. I would look at that. He just I mean, I know it's decent. It's up there. I don't know. Maybe I'm wishful thinking there. Eliath, I know I poo-pooed when they changed that, but you could literally make that a 6-1, and I think it'd still probably be fine. Most of the time, that power doesn't come into play at all. A lot of the same stuff. Let's look at the bottom as far as average Q. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. Well, Miss Marvel, but we've already touched that. I mean, that's been adjusted, so that's good. I mean, the percents there are still pretty solid. Crossbones, Wave. I think these are all good cards. Doom's good spot. Shang-Chi. You know, the one thing I would consider change about Shang-Chi is maybe making Shang-Chi a 4-2. I think it'd still get played just as much as it does now, which to me means that it'd be a healthy change. I don't know for sure, but I think that would be something that would be worth looking at. All right, so the bottom barrel here. Captain America, I think could definitely use a point buff in there. 3-4, I don't think would hurt it. Talked about Rocket, all these other ones. Ultron, really still that low with average cubes, huh? All right. I would maybe look at Ultron being a 6-9. I'd start there. Make Ultron a 6-9. You can't make the 1-power drones any better. I mean, it'd be cool if maybe one of them was a 2-power, but... or maybe what you do is drones fill up lanes for a total of 4 power. So that way, if only one drone goes to a lane, it's still a 1-4. That could be kind of cool. I mean, that way it's just like, yeah, Ultron just made a stronger drone to go there, but that might be too much coding, but it's a thought. All right, so I think we've covered everything that we've seen good here. You know, jumping back to the win rates, I don't think there's anything, and we're going to look at another one here in a second. I don't think there's anything up at the top here that really jumps out outside of some community sentiment things. So let's jump over to our friends over at snap.fan. They've got some percentages on this. I've sorted it already for win percentage, win drawn. This is the thing that we know Second Dinner looks at more often than not. We'll see how it compares to what we were just looking at. Abomination things, Sauron, those are all towards the top. So that gives you a high Evo Sauron type thing. Misty Knight, Shocker, Blob, we talked about. Cyclops, Punisher, Scorpion, again, we talked about. Typhoid Mary, Hulk, She-Hulk. You know, Hulk and Infinite, I feel like something needs to happen there. I just feel like they've fallen off a little bit. You know, Infinite being a card that you've got to skip. And some of these other cards that are able to easily get to 20 power, Blob being one of them. And, you know, you don't have to skip. You can cycle it in, all these different sort of things. Whereas Infinite, you have to skip and, you know, it's a 620. So it's like, well, okay, this sucks. It's the same as Thanos, which obviously needs a lot of cards to be played. But I don't know. I think, I know Ken, Super Tech God's been talking about making that higher for a while. I'd definitely at least look at 22 on Infinite. I know it's not on this list, but it jumped out at me as I was looking at this. She-Hulk's, I think, healthy. Tomb, I think's pretty healthy at the moment. Sunspot, Deadpool, Rock Slide, Drax. I don't buy that for a second. Jeez Louise. Okay. Don't buy that for a second. I just don't. The win rate there, the cube rates. Anyway, Darkhawk. I'm surprised with Blob coming on the scene. I think that's really hurt Darkhawk. I wouldn't touch it just because I think of what's happened with Blob. The Collector, you know, there's some changes related to Loki with that. I'll be curious to see how this potentially falls off. You might need some adjustments there. And we'll talk about Loki in a minute in our community settlement, I promise. A lot of these other ones, Kyra, again, none of these are jumping out at me as like, you need to change them right now. Looking at the bottom here, Groot doesn't even have a percentage. That's hilarious. Martyr, Shauna, Agatha, Squirrel Girl, Ebony Maw, Warlock, Watu. So yeah, I mean, some of these could all use changes for sure. Watu, I know that's Alex Coach's like one of his favorite. You know, they've nerfed it, buffed it back. It's still just bad. I mean, it's a beginner card. I think it's fine. We leave it at that. Silk, I'm a little surprised is this low, frankly. Silk is a solid card. I mean, I know I've poo-pooed it for a long time and there's a lot of RNG to it, but if you can play that right, that's a pretty good card. Yellow Jacket, sort of the same thing. You play it right, it can be good. You leave a lane open. Titania, similar. Kang, God, please rework Kang. What is the problem with reworking Kang? Havoc, obviously the numbers aren't really there for that card either. Mr. Negative's sort of fallen off given the Mobius stuff as well. So in this one, you get some move stuff here too. I think that, you know, we do have some stuff playing around with move decks. There are some ones that I want to give a try here. Hopefully we can get some more move cards to really play into that meta. Let's go ahead and look at when played. Eliath, okay, 70% taken over from Hela. Blob in second. All right. All right. So this is going to start transition to our community sentiment. You know what's not on here though? Is where's Loki? Where's Loki? No, same with both of these. Let's where was Loki on our other one too? Where was Loki? This is the transition to our community sentiment here. So I hear a lot about Thanos. I hear a lot about Blob. I hear a lot about Loki. And where's Loki? I mean, I honestly, as much as Loki is annoying, I played one earlier today. There it is. Win rate of 52%, 0.11 or average cubes. It's not great. It sucks when you play against them, I'll say that. But it's not, when I look at these metrics, nothing's jumping out at me there. I think it's okay. And then when we go back to this one, looking for Loki, let's do there's Loki there. We've got a 56%, almost 57% win rate when drawn on this one, 26,000 games. And then we've got 0.4 average cubes when played, a little bit higher on both. I mean, these numbers are a little bit better, but I mean, as far as looking at, let's look at when drawn for Loki. Like, how's he rank up? Oh, he's up there. He's up there. All right. So he's, top, was that 30-ish? My quick, that's about top 30-ish. All right. So, I mean, look, I think regardless with Loki, he's a card that needs to be changed to have the similar situation as Quinjet, where it's capped at 1 or it doesn't go lower than 1. I think that's something that should be changed about Loki. I just do. I think that it's something that it just feels bad when somebody plays 7 cards or 3. You're playing a deck with a lot of ones and they can play all their ones for free. I think it gives you a lot of advantage otherwise. So why do you need ones for free? But I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments below what your thought there is. But that's one you hear a lot about with Loki. The other one is Blob. One of the things I do want to sort of transition with this too is I want to look at spreadsheet that I've got as far as when some of these cards were released. Blob was just released, so I don't think it's going to be touched. So I'm going to look at those new ones that have been released, and we're going to end with that so we can see anything that sort of the community might be complaining about. All right, so this is a giant spreadsheet that, again, it's another tab in the one I've got that I do for offers and things where I track. I used to track when they would drop. At this point, I've just stopped doing that because it doesn't do anything. So we're going to look at this, cards that we think are to be changed. Meek obviously just came out. I think he's in a good spot. I could see him being a 1-2, honestly, but I think 1-1's decent. Hercules, he needs to be changed. Is he going to be changed this fast? I don't know, man. That would be impressive. I think he needs to be cheaper and or stronger. Scar and Kyara. Well, I've already mentioned Scar. Kyara, I think, is decent. 3 costs is a little tough for her. If they made it 2, you'd have to dramatically reduce the power rate, like 2-2 at most. But I think 2 would feel decent for her. Selene is just, I think the Black Widow change for her really hurt that. I've talked about that before. Havoc, just not a great card. Really didn't last very long. So, I don't know. I think it's, yeah, anyway. Blob, we talked about. Sebastian Shaw, honestly, is like just, he could use a buff, to be honest with you. Or like the whole surfer type thing could use a buff. We've talked about Martyr. I don't know how you change that anymore. Annihilus has been nerfed. I wouldn't touch that anymore. Gladiator, it's fine. Miss Marvel's been touched. Werewolf by Night needs to be rebuffed. Nico's solid. Black Knights, I think at this point, solid. Man Thing's not bad. Solid. Elsa got hit pretty hard. I would maybe eventually look at that. That got nerfed. Mobius was nerfed, buffed back, sort of settled in a decent spot. Renslayer got buffed. Eliath nerfed. Loki we talked about. The rest of these are getting into August. And I think at this point, anything changed from August back is sort of like fine, it's whatever. So the only ones we mentioned that are semi-recent that should be changed are Loki. Let's see what else. Werewolf by Night. It's Blob. And I mean, Selene, I guess, technically, and Hercules. So we'll see if they change any of those. I don't know for sure if they'll do it. Let me know what you think they should change it to. We looked at some of the data. Obviously, there's also that. How's it feel? What's the community say? How do we feel about it? Is it affecting late game, early game, etc.? So I'd love to hear from you regardless. Tell me what type of player you are. There's a bunch of links below to socials, Discord, Twitter, all that sort of thing. So until next time, we hope you have a wonderful day.